Well, Toyota is recalling more than 1 million vehicles because of a problem with backup cameras.
Hyundai is halting sales and recalling some of its vehicles following the death of a child. The recall is for roughly 60,000 of its 2026 Palisade SUVs.
Ford is recalling nearly 2 million vehicles due to issues involving the backup camera.
8-car brands are collapsing in 2026. And right now, today, dealers are still selling them like nothing is wrong. You walk in, you sign the paperwork, you drive off the lot feeling great. And nobody, not the salesman, not the finance manager, not the brand itself, says a single word about what is actually happening behind the scenes. Models getting axed, factories shutting down, thousands of employees let go, dealerships closing their doors quietly, one by one, and the owners left holding a car that nobody wants to buy because the company that built it is fighting for its life. Here is the part that will keep you up at night. The #1 brand on this list sold over 865,000 vehicles in the United States last year. Not struggling numbers, not a brand on life support, on paper, a brand that looks completely fine right up until you see what is happening underneath. So before you step foot on any lot, before you sign anything, which brands are already gone in everything but name? And is the car you are about to buy one of them? Let's start with a Korean luxury brand that was supposed to change everything. A brand built from scratch with one single mission: take on BMW, take on Mercedes, take on Lexus, and beat them all at their own game without the price tag. The idea sounded perfect on paper. And that is exactly where it stayed. Number 8 is Genesis, the luxury division of Hyundai Group that launched with enormous promise and has been quietly struggling to justify its own existence ever since. The pitch was simple: German-level quality, premium interiors, advanced technology, impressive styling, all of it priced below the competition. For a buyer who always wanted luxury but could never quite reach it, Genesis sounded like the answer. Here is the problem. Nobody at Hyundai wanted to say out loud, luxury buyers are not shopping for bargains. They are shopping for status. They are buying the badge, the history, the signal it sends to everyone else in the parking lot. And no matter how good the interior stitching is, a Genesis still reads as a Hyundai wearing an expensive suit. That perception gap is not a marketing problem. It is a brand identity problem, and those do not get fixed with a new logo. The sales numbers confirm exactly that. Genesis moved roughly 75,000 units in the United States last year. That sounds reasonable until you put it next to BMW's 371,000 units, Lexus at 346,000, Mercedes at 324,000. Genesis is not competing in the luxury segment. It is watching the luxury segment from the parking lot. Then came the reliability hits that a young brand simply cannot afford. In 2022, Genesis recalled multiple models for fuel pump failures that caused vehicles to stall without warning. Their EVs followed with power loss recalls on the G80 and GV60. Every recall that makes the news is another reason for a cautious luxury buyer to walk straight past the Genesis showroom and into the one next door. The tariff situation made everything worse. Many Genesis models rely on imported parts. Prices went up. The one advantage Genesis had, being cheaper than the Germans, started shrinking. And now the lineup itself is shrinking with it. The electric G80 has already been cut. Reports suggest the G70 and the electric GV70 are next. A luxury brand with a thinning model range and a perception problem it has never solved is not a brand on the rise. It is a brand running out of arguments for why it should exist at all. And when that day comes, it is not the executives who feel it first. It is the owners sitting on a car that nobody wants to buy. There was a time when owning a Jaguar meant something. Not just transportation, not just a way to get from point A to point B. A genuine statement, a piece of British history sitting in your driveway. The leaping cat on the hood told everyone around you exactly who you were. Stylish sedans, roaring sports cars, decades of legacy that no other brand could touch. That was Jaguar. This is Jaguar now. Number 7 on this list, and honestly, the most stunning collapse of any brand carrying this much history. Because Jaguar did not fade quietly. It did not get outcompeted slowly. It walked onto a stage in front of the entire automotive world and dismantled itself in real time, deliberately, publicly, and without any real plan for what came next. Start with the lineup. The XE, gone. The XF, gone. The F-Type, gone. The I-Pace, gone. The E-Pace, gone. All of them pulled from markets including the United States in 2024. What remains is one single model, the F-Pace SUV. That is the entire Jaguar lineup right now, a brand with a century of history, reduced to one SUV while it waits for electric vehicles that will not arrive until 2026. That gap, no new products, empty showrooms, dealers with nothing to sell, is not a strategic pause. It is a crisis. And the way Jaguar handled it made everything dramatically worse. The rebrand was supposed to signal a bold new direction. What it actually did was erase the one thing Jaguar still had working in its favor. The iconic leaping cat logo, gone. Replaced by something the internet immediately called generic corporate slop. Then came the infamous ad that ran across every platform and showed exactly 0 cars, not a single vehicle, just colors and phrases and a complete abandonment of everything that ever made anyone care about Jaguar in the first place. The reaction was brutal and swift. Their CEO stepped down months later. Underneath all of this, the reliability numbers were never good to begin with. Repair pal rates. Jaguar 2.5 out of 5 stars, placing them 29th out of 32 brands. That is not a foundation you rebuild a company on. That is a brand already standing on cracked ground before anyone lit the match. Resale values are in free fall. Dealerships are closing across the country, and the parent company, JLR, is surviving almost entirely because Land Rover continues to sell strongly. Jaguar is not carrying its own weight. It is being carried. Jaguar did not die because it became irrelevant. It died because it made a deliberate choice to stop being Jaguar. And every owner who trusted that badge is now living with that decision. Close your eyes for a second and think about what Mitsubishi used to mean. The Lancer Evolution tearing through rally stages. The Montero conquering terrain that had no business being driven on. A brand that stood for affordable performance, genuine off-road capability, and reliability that mechanics respected. People did not just buy Mitsubishi, they trusted it. That brand is gone. What is left is wearing the same badge and almost nothing else. Number 6 is Mitsubishi. And the story of how it got here is not just about bad products or bad timing. It is about a company that betrayed its own customers twice, got caught both times, and never fully recovered from either one. Start with the numbers, because the numbers do not lie. In 2002, Mitsubishi sold nearly 345,000 vehicles in the United States. By 2024, that figure had collapsed to just 86,000 units. That is not a brand losing ground slowly. That is a brand that has lost 3/4 of its American audience in 2 decades and is still sliding. Then, 2025 arrived and made everything worse. New tariffs stalled deliveries and left thousands of vehicles stranded at ports. Mitsubishi had no choice but to raise prices. For a brand whose only remaining competitive advantage was being affordable, hiking prices is not a strategy. It is a surrender. What is left in the lineup today is a thin collection of crossovers and SUVs that do not lead any segment, do not win any comparison test, and do not excite any buyer who has done even minimal research. The performance legacy is completely gone. The identity is gone with it. Then there are the scandals. And this is where Mitsubishi stops being a sad story and starts being something else entirely. In 2000, the brand was caught deliberately covering up serious mechanical defects to avoid costly recalls. That was the first betrayal. In 2016, they were caught falsifying fuel economy data across more than 625,000 vehicles. Police raids, executive resignations, lawsuits, market value cut in half almost overnight. The collapse was so severe that Nissan had to step in and purchase a controlling stake just to keep Mitsubishi breathing. A company that lies to its customers once has a problem. A company that does it twice has a character. Before we go further, if you want the complete breakdown of every brand and model draining owner finances in 2026, I put together a free ebook called Avoid These 17 Cars in 2026. Depreciation data, reliability scores, the exact models mechanics see constantly. Link is in the description. Download it before you walk into any dealership. The Mitsubishi badge still carries a legacy. The cars today do not come close to earning it. There is a car brand out there that has been selling you a feeling for decades. Not just transportation, not just specs on a sheet, a feeling. The idea that driving does not have to be a chore, that a car can have a soul, that every single time you turn the key, something genuinely exciting is about to happen. That brand built its entire identity around passion, around emotion, around the romance of the open road, and that is exactly what makes it so dangerous right now. Number 5 is Alfa Romeo. And if you have ever been tempted by one, if you have ever stood in a showroom and felt that pull, this is the part you need to hear before you sign anything. The allure is real. Nobody is going to pretend otherwise. The styling turns heads in a way that German sedans simply do not. The driving dynamics are sharp in ways that justify every piece of automotive press written about them. On paper, on a test drive, in photos, Alfa Romeo delivers something that very few brands can match. The problem starts the moment the test drive ends and the ownership experience begins. Alfa Romeo has never sustained real success in the American market, not once. The brand has cycled through periods of promise and retreat for decades, and the current chapter is following the exact same pattern. Sales numbers have declined to the point where they barely register as meaningful within their own segments. The brand is not a player in the conversation. It is a footnote. Stellantis, the parent company, is in its own serious financial crisis. When a parent company starts cutting costs and reallocating resources, the smallest and least profitable brands feel it first and feel it hardest. Alfa Romeo is not Stellantis' priority. The investment pipeline reflects that clearly. The lineup tells the same story. The Giulia and the Stelvio are essentially all that remains of any meaningful product. There is no credible electric strategy in place. Every quarter that passes without a real EV roadmap is another quarter falling further behind brands that planned ahead. Then there is the ownership reality that no showroom visit ever prepares you for. Alfa Romeo scores consistently poor across owner reliability surveys. Repair costs sit alongside German luxury brands at the premium end, without the resale value to justify absorbing them. People buy Alfa for the passion. They spend the ownership experience frustrated, waiting for parts, explaining to service advisors why their car is behaving this way again. A beautiful car and a smart purchase are two completely different things. In 2026, with Stellantis cutting and the product pipeline uncertain, that distinction could cost you far more than you are expecting. There are brands that represent luxury, and then there are brands that represent something rarer than that. Brands that do not just signal wealth, but signal taste. History, a level of discernment that money alone cannot explain. For most of the 20th century, Maserati was exactly that kind of brand. The Trident badge was not just a logo, it was a declaration. Formula One heritage running through every vehicle. Italian craftsmanship that justified every dollar of the price tag. A name that commanded respect in rooms full of people who knew exactly what they were looking at. That was Maserati then. Number 4 is Maserati now. And the gap between those two sentences is where the financial damage lives. The collapse here did not happen because Maserati made bad cars. It happened because Stellantis made a catastrophically bad decision. Someone inside that corporate structure looked at the Trident badge and decided that what an ultra-exclusive luxury performance brand really needed was volume. More units, more dealerships, more accessibility. They tried to scale Maserati like it was a mainstream brand, flooding the market with product and chasing numbers that a brand like this was never designed to chase. The market rejected it immediately. Global deliveries collapsed dramatically through 2024. Sales figures in the United States reached the point where they are statistically irrelevant in any serious segment analysis. You do not make Maserati more desirable by making it more available. You do the opposite. Exclusivity is not a marketing strategy for this brand. It is the entire product. The model lineup has been gutted in response. The Quattroporte is gone. The Ghibli is gone. What remains is a skeleton of what the brand once offered, with the Grecale now carrying most of the weight it was never designed to carry alone. The Fulgor electric version of the Grecale arrived with enormous expectations and has underperformed against better resourced rivals who planned their electric transitions years earlier. And Stellantis' own deepening financial crisis is now Maserati's death sentence. When a parent company is cutting costs aggressively across the entire group, the smallest volume brands with the highest costs do not get protected. They get sacrificed. The ownership experience reflects all of this pressure. Maseratis depreciate at a rate that makes German luxury cars look stable. The dealer network is shrinking, which means longer waits and less competition keeping service costs in check. When something breaks, and on an Italian performance vehicle, something always eventually breaks, the repair bill shocks even experienced luxury car owners who thought they were prepared. The Trident still turns heads on every street it travels. The ownership spreadsheet tells a completely different story, and in 2026, it is the spreadsheet that follows you home. There are car brands, and then there are car brands that become part of who a country believes itself to be. Chrysler was the second kind, the first production Hemi Vive 8 introduced to American roads. The minivan invented from scratch, creating an entirely new segment that changed how American families moved for generations. A badge that sat in driveways from coast to coast and meant something to the people who chose it. Not just transportation, a piece of American identity. That is what makes what is happening right now so difficult to watch. Number 2 is Chrysler, and this is not a story about a fringe brand that never found its audience. This is a story about an American institution that has been quietly dismantled piece by piece, while most people were not paying close enough attention to notice. Start with the numbers, because they are staggering. In 2005, Chrysler sold more than 640,000 vehicles in the United States. By 2024, that figure had collapsed to under 125,000 units. That is an 80% decline from peak. Not a dip, not a correction. An 80% collapse in 2 decades from a brand that once defined American family vehicles. And 2025 is on track to be even worse than that. Look at what is left. The Chrysler 300, the last car that genuinely represented what the brand stood for, was discontinued in 2023. The Voyager exists primarily as a fleet vehicle, which means the Pacifica is it. One consumer model. That is the entire Chrysler lineup keeping the brand alive right now. And even that one remaining lifeline is losing ground. Fast. The Honda Odyssey outcompetes it. The Kia Carnival outcompetes it. The Toyota Sienna outcompetes it on technology, reliability, and depreciation. Every category that matters to a practical family buyer. Pacifica sales dropped 11% in 2024 alone. The one plan Chrysler had for a real future was the Airflow EV, a vehicle that was supposed to signal the comeback, prove the brand could compete in the modern era, Give buyers a reason to walk into a Chrysler showroom again. Stellantis canceled it mid-development. Too expensive. Already outdated before it ever reached a single showroom. Here is the part that removes all doubt about where this is heading. The former CEO of Stellantis warned explicitly that several brands under the group's umbrella could disappear entirely by 2026. Chrysler is the most exposed name on that list. For the people already sitting in Chrysler vehicles, the consequences are already arriving. Values dropping, service networks thinning, parts availability quietly shrinking. Chrysler did not fail because America stopped needing cars. It failed because nobody at the top ever gave it a genuine reason to survive. Here is the number that is going to stop you cold. 865,000 vehicles sold in the United States in 2024. Not a brand scraping by. Not a name disappearing from showrooms. Numbers that would make most automakers feel completely secure about their future. Now here is the number underneath that number. A $4.5 billion loss in a single year. Operating profits down 90%. Global sales collapsed from 5.8 million units in 2017 to just 3.3 million units in 2024. A company hemorrhaging from the inside, while the surface numbers keep millions of buyers completely unsuspecting. Number 1 is Nissan. And this is the most dangerous entry on this entire list precisely because nothing about it looks dangerous from the outside. The GTR, the Armada, the Frontier, the Altima. Nissan built vehicles that defined generations and commanded genuine respect across every market on Earth. This was not a niche brand. This was a global powerhouse with engineering credibility that took decades to build. And it is coming apart faster than almost anyone predicted. The response to the financial collapse has been severe. Nearly 20,000 employees laid off. Manufacturing plants shuttered. Production slashed across the board. The Maxima, their flagship sedan, axed in 2023. The Altima following the same path downward. The Ariya EV canceled. 2 additional EV projects planned for the American market scrapped entirely. Nissan now enters the electric era with effectively no strategy and no product, while every competitor around them accelerates forward. The cracks did not appear overnight. In 2018, CEO Carlos Ghosn was arrested for hiding millions of dollars and using company assets for personal enrichment. The corporate crisis that followed destroyed trust with partners and investors at exactly the moment Nissan needed both. Emissions scandals and fuel economy manipulation added to the damage. Every layer of credibility the brand had built got stripped back one revelation at a time. Then came the Honda merger attempt. Nissan, desperate for a lifeline, pursued a combination that could have stabilized everything. Honda demanded total control. Talks collapsed. Nissan has been searching for an alliance partner ever since, and nothing has been signed. Internal sources have put the timeline in terms that leave no room for comfortable interpretation. 12 to 14 months to secure a major investor before the situation moves beyond recovery. That is the company behind the car your neighbor just financed. That is the brand the dealership down the street is still selling this weekend with zero mention of any of this. When a brand this size gets this close to the edge, it is never the executives who pay the price first. It is the person standing in the driveway, wondering why nobody will buy their car. 8 brands, 8 different stories, 8 completely different roads that all lead to the same destination. Genesis built a luxury brand that luxury buyers never asked for. Jaguar torched a century of prestige in a single rebrand and called it a bold new direction. Mitsubishi betrayed its customers twice, got caught both times, and is still paying for it today. Alfa Romeo sells you a feeling and then makes you pay for that feeling every single time something breaks. Maserati got scaled like a mass market brand by a parent company that understood volume and completely misunderstood what made the Trident badge worth anything in the first place. Chrysler, an American institution that invented segments and defined generations, reduced to a single minivan, waiting for a future that Stellantis already canceled. And Nissan, the most alarming name on this entire list, selling hundreds of thousands of vehicles every year while quietly running out of time from the inside. Different brands, different failures. One pattern, connecting all of them. The people who built these companies made decisions that protected the balance sheet, or the boardroom, or the quarterly report. And the people who bought these cars are the ones left holding the consequences. A car purchase is not just a transaction. It is a 5-year relationship with a company that needs to still exist, still support your vehicle, still maintain a dealer network, still supply parts, still honor the ownership experience they promised when you signed. When that company starts collapsing, every single one of those things disappears. And it does not happen with a warning. It happens quietly, one closed dealership at a time. Before you walk into any showroom, download the free ebook, Avoid These 17 Cars in 2026. Depreciation charts showing exactly which vehicles hold value and which ones crater. Reliability data pulled from real owners. The specific models that are already losing value faster than the market realizes. Link is in the description. The collapse is real. It is accelerating. And it is entirely avoidable if you walk into that dealership carrying data instead of brand loyalty.